The detention facility on Vextora Prime smelled of antiseptic and despair. Sergeant Marcus Chen sat in his cell, watching the purple rain fall through the translucent barrier that separated him from the courtyard below. He'd been a prisoner of war for 3 months now, ever since his reconnaissance shuttle had been shot down over the Vraxian Empire's outer territories. The Vraxians were a peculiar species, tall crystalline beings who valued aesthetic perfection above all else. Their princess Lyrasesh was known throughout the galaxy for her collection of exotic creatures from conquered worlds. She kept them in elaborate habitats, displaying them like living sculptures for visiting dignitaries. That afternoon, Marcus heard the commotion before he saw it. Guards were shouting in their melodic language, and through his cell window he spotted a crowd gathering near the ornamental pools in the courtyard. Among the Vraxians' elegant, translucent forms, he saw something that made his heart stop. A massive lion, Earth's apex predator, thrashing desperately in one of the deep decorative pools. The creature had somehow fallen in, and its powerful legs were failing against the smooth crystalline walls that offered no purchase. Princess Lyrasesh stood at the pool's edge, her crystalline face impassive. She spoke to her attendants in their chiming language, and Marcus didn't need a translator to understand her dismissal. The lion was damaged goods now, a flawed piece in her collection. She turned away, her entourage following like glittering shadows. Something primal ignited in Marcus's chest. He'd grown up on a wildlife preserve in Kenya before joining the military. He'd seen lions in their natural habitat, respected their dignity, understood their place in Earth's ecosystem. This magnificent creature was drowning, abandoned by the alien who'd stolen it from its home, and nobody was doing anything. Marcus slammed his fists against the energy barrier of his cell. "Hey, hey!" He roared at the guards stationed outside. They turned, their faceted eyes reflecting confusion. Humans weren't supposed to be this emotional, this volatile. He pointed frantically at the pool. "The animal. It's dying!" The guards exchanged glances. One shrugged, a gesture eerily similar to humans despite their alien physiology. They weren't going to act. Why would they risk themselves for a pet their princess had discarded? Marcus made a decision that would either end his captivity or his life. He charged the barrier, using a technique he'd learned from observing the energy patterns during his imprisonment. The field flickered for a microsecond during its refresh cycle, just long enough for him to wedge his boot into the generator housing. Sparks flew. Alarms blared. The barrier collapsed. Marcus sprinted across the courtyard, shoving past confused guards who were too startled to react immediately. The lion's head was barely above water now, its golden eyes wide with terror and exhaustion. Without hesitation, Marcus dove in. The water was freezing, nothing like the warm pools of his childhood. He swam to the lion, whose instinct was to lash out at anything nearby. A massive paw caught his shoulder, claws raking across his uniform and skin beneath. Marcus gritted his teeth against the pain and wrapped his arms around the creature's massive torso. "I've got you, big guy," he gasped. "I've got you." Together they were too heavy. Marcus kicked toward the edge, his legs burning, lungs screaming. The lion seemed to sense his intention and stopped fighting, becoming dead weight in his arms. With a final surge of effort, Marcus hoisted the creature's front paws onto the pool's edge where the slope was gentler. The lion scrabbled for purchase and finally, mercifully pulled itself out. Marcus hauled himself up after it, collapsing on the crystalline ground. The lion lay beside him, flanks heaving, water streaming from its dark mane. For a moment, they simply breathed together. Two Earth creatures far from home. When Marcus opened his eyes, he found himself surrounded by Vraxian guards, their weapons trained on him. But they hesitated. Princess Lyrasesh had returned, and she was staring at him with something that might have been curiosity or might have been anger. Human expressions didn't translate well to crystalline faces. "You destroyed property to save a creature I had deemed worthless," she said in perfect, if stilted English. "Explain yourself, human." Marcus struggled to his feet, positioning himself between the guards and the lion. "Where I come from, we don't measure worth by perfection. That animal is a king in its natural habitat. It deserved better than drowning in a decorative pool because it stopped being entertaining." The princess tilted her head, facets catching the purple light. "You risked punishment, injury, death for a creature not even of your pack." "That's what humans do," Marcus said simply. "We're stubborn like that." Something shifted in the courtyard's atmosphere. The princess made a gesture and the guards lowered their weapons. "I have observed many species in my collection, she said slowly. "I have never witnessed such irrational compassion." She paused. "Keep it. The creature is yours now. Perhaps it will teach me something about your kind." Over the following months, Marcus's status changed. He was no longer a prisoner in a cell, but a keeper in the menagerie. The lion, whom he named Simba, a name from Earth's old stories, recovered and thrived under his care. The two became inseparable, and their bond became something of a legend among the Vraxian court. The princess visited often, watching how Marcus trained Simba not through dominance but through trust and respect, how he spoke to the lion as an equal, how Simba followed him not out of fear but loyalty. When the war finally ended and prisoner exchanges began, Princess Lyrixesh did something unprecedented. She allowed Marcus to take Simba with him, officially gifting the lion back to Earth as a gesture of goodwill. As Marcus boarded the transport ship, Simba walking calmly at his side, he turned back to see the princess watching from her palace spire. He raised his hand in salute. She returned the gesture, another human habit she'd learned. Some bonds, Marcus reflected as the ship lifted off. Transcended species, transcended worlds. And sometimes the most human thing you could do was refuse to let compassion die, even when everyone else had given up. That's what made humanity special. Not their technology or their tactics. Their stubborn, beautiful refusal to look away.